Hi, everyone. I'm Alex Sorup. I'm the founder and chief growth officer at YouScan. And today we'll show you our new tool for social listening powered by AI and ChatGPT. For those of you who are maybe not so familiar with social listening, it's a process of collecting and analyzing mentions from social media about brands, about events, personalities, celebrities, and whatnot. Some say that social media is the biggest focus group in the world, but of course, this data comes very noisy and unstructured and also massive. So that's where the tools for social listening like YouScan come handy. And YouScan is an AI-powered social media listening tool. We apply artificial intelligence to analyze texts and images from social media, and image part is important because social media has become a very visual rich. YouScan covers data from major social networks, from blogs, forums, product review sites, and by applying AI to analyze text and images, we help market researchers to analyze consumer opinions shared online, explore real-life consumption situations as seen in images, and discover actionable consumer insights. So typically, social listening tools like YouScan, they are structured around charts, graphs, showing you, for example, sentiment distribution, trends in discussions, clusters, geography, and so on and so forth. But lately, we made a step further, and we are trying to democratize social listening for market researchers by enabling them to query the data in natural language with our newest AI tool, the Insights Copilot. So Insights Copilot lets you ask questions about your social data without the need to navigate dashboards and reports and get responses just like you would get responses from ChatGPT or Gemini, get insights and summaries in natural language. And my colleague, Zhenya, our head of AI, will show you the live demo just now.
So right now we are inside YouScan, and here you see different mentions about Polestar, electrical vehicle brand from Sweden, competitor of Tesla. YouScan collected more than 50,000 different posts and comments last month from different sources like Twitter, YouTube, Reddit, and many, many more. And right now we will see how Insights Copilot can help us uncover insights in this data. So on the right side of the screen, you see this panel where we can ask any question we want based on this data, or we can choose from one of the predefined cases here. For example, ask Copilot to retrieve and summarize potential crises in this dataset. And this is the main difference between a classic ChatGPT or any other LM provider at Insights Copilot. Insights Copilot has access to this real-time social media data to answer your question. Okay, I already asked several questions. So let's start with this one, like what are the main consumer complaints about Polestar? And you see here that Copilot answered with well-structured answer with different points like high pricing, software issues, poor customer service, concerns about design and functionality. And each point has examples. So we can actually check examples of mentions that support this point, this insight. So here we see comments on YouTube, another unaffordable car, nice car, but way too expensive. We can check it for example, for any of these points, like the next one about software issues. Right now we see, some comments on Reddit. It's clear that Polestar needs to invest more heavily in software, and many, many others. And for example, this one in different language. This is a review from Apple Store, and we can translate. And here we see that some complaints about that user can't connect a phone to the car. So many interesting insights here that Insights Copilot uncovered for us, and you can see that it can do it. It can work with different languages. But let's move on and continue our research and ask follow-up question. So in this case, I asked Copilot to show the dynamic of complaints over the last 6 months to check like bigger pictures, and Copilot answered with this chart. So now we see that there was some spike in May, but the whole number of complaints are more or less the same or slowly growing. And we see that Copilot can do both quantitative analytics and qualitative analytics. So in this case, it calculated how many complaints Polestar had over the last 6 months. And then I asked, for example, what is the main sources of these complaints? And Copilot gathered a statistic for me about the main sources of these complaints and answered with this list. We see that no surprises here. Twitter or X is the main source of complaints for Polestar. So you see that Copilot can answer not just with plain text, but also can build a chart for you and answer with numbers, with actually lists like this one. And as this conversational interface, we can ask new questions by referring the previous answers and previous questions. Like this one, I asked Copilot to plot this data, and Copilot converted this list to bar chart. And if you don't like bar chart, you can ask Copilot to use some different chart. In this case, we see that Copilot built for us a pie chart. And all of these insights, when covered in less than 5 minutes, including these main complaints about Polestar, and you can see here very detailed insights. We also right now know that there was some spike in May, and that most of these complaints come from Twitter. And we even have these charts that we can use to present these findings and share this analysis with our team. Okay, let's try one more case. And I want to show you how Copilot deals with questions like this one. What are the main difference in brand perception between two regions, in this case, between Germany and the US. So normally to answer such questions, we need to analyze dimensions from one region, from another region, and then compare the results, find some similarities, differences. So let's see how Copilot deals with such questions. So Copilot started with analysis of mentions from Germany. And again, we see here well-structured answers with examples and many interesting points here. And then it did the same for the US. And below we see like a final summary with points from one region, another region, and final takeaways. So here, for example, we see that in Germany, the focus is more on the high cost and practicality issues, where in the US, there's a stronger emphasis on luxury, innovation, and anticipation for new model, despite concerns about customer service and brand origin. So this is, I think, a very interesting, and users can use this like final summary as is, or dig into some intermediate points, some intermediate insights, and check underline mentions. And I think this is very important, that Copilot is absolutely transparent with you about all intermediate steps and all applied filters. So you can track how this final summary, how this final insight was generated. So I think that's it.
Yep, thanks, Jenna. Can you, let me share my screen to do a summary slide really quick. We are not shy to say that the Insights Copilot is really a revolutionary tool for social media data analysis, because it speeds up the path to insights dramatically, especially for users who are new to social listening, maybe not that experienced with all the features in social listening tools, so they don't have to apply filters and check the dashboards and graphs. They can do all the analysis, get all the insights, both qualitative and quantitative, in the conversational interface. And as Jenna already mentioned, it's super important that we trust the responses. We don't want the AI to hallucinate as models do. So we have multi-level architecture to ensure trustworthiness, and YouScan Insights Copilot provides you references, examples of social media posts underlying its conclusions. So as we say, ask it anything, ask Insights Copilot anything about your social listening data and get insights in seconds. You can try it. We invite you to get a demo of this amazing tool, and I'm happy to answer questions that we already have in the Q&A chat.
Excellent. Thank you, Zhenya and Alex. And I'm just going to share my screen. So we got some questions, some of which you've actually answered on your way through. So one question in the chat was, how do you confirm the numbers are accurate? And I guess that's a question that relates to this hallucinations issue. So just want to mention that again briefly.
Yeah, Zhenya, please do, about data accuracy and numbers.
Yeah, talking about the numbers, so Copilot has access to statistics that we have in YouScan. So when, for example, in this case, with the main sources of complaints, so all these numbers were gathered from our platform. So there's no randomness here. So we exactly know how many complaints were, for example, from Reddit last month. And if we're talking about qualitative analytics, so within these answers with several points, for each point, we provide examples of mentions that support this point, so users can verify this and validate these insights.
And we have a question about different languages. You showed it running with, for example, German.
Yeah.
Questions that people always want to know are, what about Arabic? What about Chinese? What about Japanese?
Yeah, Copilot supports more than 90 different languages. So it supports Arabic, Chinese, and many more. And it means that means for you that you can ask your question in all these languages, and Copilot can analyze mentions from all these languages.
Excellent. So did you collect the data set with Insights Copilot? Could you tell us a bit more about how you collected the information, and does it include TikTok?
Yeah, let me take that. So to collect the data, first you have to create a search query in the social listening tool to collect the most relevant mentions from social media about the brand or event that you're analyzing. And then the Copilot works on top of that data that has been collected and analyzed by our AI algorithms. So for example, the sentiment, consumer sentiment for all these mentions has been already analyzed by our AI. And then on top of that data, you can ask the Insights Copilot any questions. So yeah, our data includes TikTok data too.
Excellent. You've shown divided analysis by country, which is another questions. But there's also a question about the number of people. So one of the challenges always with social media is you might have 1,000 people making one comment and one person making 1,000 comments. How does both YouScan and then the Insights Copilot deal with balancing people who make a few comments with people who make a lot of comments?
Okay, so in such cases, in YouScan, you have access to many other filters, including the filter-based, after-based filters. So you can simply filter out authors that, let's say, have too many mentions, and might be suspicious kind of bots, and conduct analysis only on this filtered data. It's one of the options. Another options that we have the duplication, so we can simply duplicate all these mentions to analyze only unique one.
And what do you see as the next developments for Insights Copilot? You've shown us what it can already do today. What is coming next, do you think?
Yeah, we're still working on so right now, Insights Copilot has access to text data, to all these conversations, and also to statistics that we have in this kind. So still working on expanding the numbers of dimensions that Copilot can use for analysis, for filtering. And as in this kind, we also have very powerful visual insights. We're also thinking about to combine these two powerful technologies and to provide access to visual insights too.
Excellent. Well, we've managed to cover all of the questions. So Zhenya and Alex, thank you so much for coming on today. If you were interested in what you saw today, please go and try this via the YouScan site and the link that Alex showed, and which you will see again when we share the slides and the recordings in a couple of days. So thank you both.